Alright guys, this will be part 2 of styling the dashboard, making it look nice. So to start out, what I want to do is I don't like how these items are hugged up against the wall. So when I inspect these, it looks like they're just spans inside of to-dos. And we have a list to do. So if I just click this ID here and just play around, so I could say margin of 0, 5 pixels on the right, none on the bottom, and 5 pixels on the left. Not bad. Let me just do 15 and 15, and I think that'll look a little bit better. So we're gonna take list to do, and we'll say, whoops, list to do margin is 0, 15 pixels, 0, 15 pixels. And we have a bunch of child containers in here. So let's see what we're working with. We have list to do, and inside each one of these is a div, a span, and some anchor tags. So here's what I propose. I'm going to wrap a span tag around these two items, and this is going to require me to go into the JavaScript. So I'll go ahead and do that. JS, dashboard, and template. So here are our options. So to do, and it looks about right. Here's where it lists the content, and then from here to here is where it lists our options. So I'll just clear this line. I'll say output plus equals end span, and above here I'll say output plus equals span class equals options, like that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and refresh and inspect again, and we have a span class of options. So now we have something to work with, and I'll just try something and say float right. Okay, so this way I can put them on the right. So I'm going to say list to do dot span options. So let's do that. List to do span dot options float right, and we're also going to want to do a list to do div clear both, so that it doesn't get all crazy. So now we have these here. That looks lined up pretty decently. I would like it if when we hovered over a to-do item, it highlighted. So let's do that. List to do div hover. So list to do div hover background, and I'm going to do a little RGBA trick. That means red, green, blue, alpha. And I'm going to do 255 for all three of them, which is white. If you did 3 zeros, that would be black. And I'll do 0.2, so that's 20% alpha. So it looks like it's not behaving how I wanted it to. List to do of a div hover. Perhaps I can't see it. Div.hover, refresh. There we go, I couldn't see it. Hopefully you can see it on your screen, but it just lights up a little bit. So if I'm going to click one of these, I can more clearly see what I'm doing. What I'm also going to do is kind of space these out a little bit. So in my options anchor tags, I'll say list to do span options A. Margin left will be 4 pixels. And let's also do this. I'll duplicate this line, and when we hover it, Let's try a background of RGBA 255, 255, 0.9. At this point, I'm just playing around with the color. You can play around with it all you want. Find what you're looking for. So they're spaced out a little more. And when I hover them, they don't exactly do what I want. So I'll just try 0, 0, 0 with, say, 0.3. Refresh, and there we go. It just highlights a little black box, so it's easier to tell that you're going to click it. The other thing is I want these to have more padding. So these divs of the to-dos, scroll up a little bit right here. So I'll say padding equals 3 pixels and 0. Now this is different from this one. Basically, if you only do 2 numbers, it counts for the top and the bottom, and then the 0 counts for the left and the right. Okay, so refresh, and now they have a bit more padding in between them, and they look nicer. Cool. And let's click the little check mark, and it says it's ticked off, but I kind of want this to be in italics or more dimmed out. I believe we had that previously, but something looks a little off. So tick, 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 refresh. The class isn't getting applied until it's refreshed. So there's a bug, and let's go ahead and fix that. So we'll go to our template, and if it's completed, we add the class of toDoComplete. Okay. So let's go to our event. This will be a quick fix, and we'll do update todo, and I'll just middle click that. Okay. And let's see what this is looking at. It looks like it updates this successfully. We just need to add the parent. Looks like the parent because we added another parent. So that does make it a little hairy. What we can do is try to get the to-do ID to do this. So I'm going to take a risk here, guys. I'm going to say the ID of this guy. So when they click this, whoops, it goes to the parent of div here. So let's try this. I'm just gonna duplicate this line, and I'll say .css border border 1px solid red. Okay, and I'll go ahead and refresh that, take it off, and it looks like nothing's getting hit. So let's try parents and refresh, checks them all off. It's going 1 too high. Rats, I do not like traversing. So we could just capture the ID. I'll say to do plus post data dot to do ID, and I got that from post data up here, and then to do data right there. So I'll try again. Check, and it didn't obey. I wonder if these are adding the classes. Let's see what it's doing. So if I tick off this one, let me just inspect it. Let's see what happens. Tick, tick. Something's changing in the anchor, which is proper. We're just trying to get to do ID 27. So are we doing that? Let me try to hide it. To do underscore post data ID. And for extra measure, I'm also going to console log it. console.log refresh. And let's see if we get anything. Click. We get to do 35, okay? And with that, why is to do 35 not changing? Interesting. These should all be toggling. Let's see if it's actually happening on the DOM. So if I click him, yeah, these aren't changing. Interesting. So right here I'm going to have to modify some of the JavaScript code and just add a class of to-do complete. And here we will remove class and delete the line below it. Go ahead and refresh, and that toggles the button better. Looks like it's all working, just testing it out. So go ahead and close that thing if I can click it. And now what we're going to do is type a really long to-do item to see what happens with the layout. And you see how it breaks the check and the X? We kind of want those to be in the right position. So looking at the item, it's in a span, and I'm just going to type some code here and give it a fixed width to see what happens. So make it a block and float it left and try to stretch it to the end. And then we'll put this in our actual CSS file once we know that it's working just fine. And to our CSS, let's go ahead and look for the to-do div and add those settings of 222 pixels, float left, and display as a block. And we want to make sure you have clear both on there. Okay. And that looks a little too short. We're going to have to also float the tick boxes to the right. So let's just investigate the DOM. And we'll just create a new div item for the first span, which is the container for the text, and apply that to that rule. That looks good. And you see how the hover is not overflowing the whole thing? We want the overflow auto to be in the parent div for the to-do item. So in the list to do, we'll just do overflow auto. Refresh, and the highlight does look good. And so now we can post super long to-dos. And I'm just looking at some of my CSS here. Change the padding a little bit. You can change this how you like it. I'm just trying to make it a little more fancy. A little border radius around the edges so the highlights look a little nicer. You can add more if you prefer. And then just testing out the to-do list. Make sure all the ticks work nicely. And I guess that's it.